In April 2021, this year only, Elon Musk has declared that he will be taking his first crewed mission to Mars in 2026. That is almost 5 years from now. It is interesting as well as fascinating. Elon's mission is considered to be one of the most ambitious among all the other people who are trying to go into Mars, and most of them are nations, not individual entrepreneurs. Many countries including UAE, China and US, they are all set to send the first human on this red planet. Even NASA is planning to send the first astronaut to Mars somewhere in 2030, but Elon wants to send them in 2026 only. And when Elon says something, the world listens to him. Elon Musk is an entrepreneur and business magnate. He is the founder, CEO and chief engineer of SpaceX, early stage investor, CEO and product architect of Telsa Incorporation, founder of the Boring Company and co-founder of Neuralink and OpenAI. Musk is one of the richest people in the world. How did he become famous? Well, the journey has been fascinating, from co-founding the electronic payment firm PayPal to creating the spacecraft company SpaceX. This video is not about Elon's success story. This video is about SpaceX program, the Mars program. That is really interesting and fascinating. As an individual entrepreneur, Elon is thinking so big that he is thinking of taking us to Mars. Can you believe it? And that is exactly what he is doing. SpaceX Mars program is a development program initiated by Elon Musk and SpaceX in order to facilitate the eventual colonization of Mars. The program includes fully reusable launch vehicles, human-rated spacecraft, on-orbit propellant tankers, rapid turnaround launch and landing mounts. Also local production of rocket fuel on Mars. NASA wants to send astronauts to Mars perhaps at some point in 2030s. The United Arab Emirates, which now has a spacecraft orbiting the planet, is promoting a 100-year plan to create a colony there. While China has said sending humans to Mars is its long-term goal. Those eager for a taste of Martian life can visit a simulation site in the Gobi Desert for now. The most ambitious of them is billionaire Elon Musk. At the Excel Springer Award 2020, Elon Musk said that he is highly confident that the first crewed mission to Mars will happen in 2026. But a long journey to Mars for humans has a lot of hindrances also. Now the biggest terror is the solar flare. Solar flare are the most dangerous explosions in the solar system that one has to face. A solar flare is equivalent to 100 million hydrogen bombs. The Earth's magnetic field can shield astronauts in orbit, but a deep space traveler hit by such a radiation would not be able to survive more than few days. And it's a very gruesome way to die. The Apollo program didn't address this issue, choosing instead to take the chance that the few days of a lunar mission wouldn't coincide with a solar event. It would be a different story for multi-month trips to Mars. Solution lies with water tanks on board the spacecraft. These tanks can act as shield if positioned properly. So in the event of a flare, travelers could retreat to the spacecraft's version of a panic room surrounded by water tanks. The problem is detecting activity on the sun, especially on the side not facing the Earth. The challenge would be, how can we make our space weather prediction good enough so that we can give the crew notice? So far, we don't have established capacity to observe the sun from different angles for tracking solar storms. Radiation is not the only en route problem to Mars. Mars has a much thinner atmosphere than Earth, and it doesn't have a magnetic shield also. So humans on the planet's surface would be at a risk of exposure to solar and cosmic radiation. Moreover, the surface itself is largely dust, and massive storms can create dust clouds that block out the sun. During such a storm, it is almost like midnight on the surface of Mars for 2 months. If you are there with solar panels for power, you very likely don't survive. You don't have enough energy to keep things warm. One solution would be for humans to use the dust to protect themselves, lining shelters with sandbags filled with Martian soil that could block out radiation. Humans could also return to their cave-dwelling roots by finding temporary shelter in some of the planet's many lava tubes, large caverns from ancient times when Mars had volcanic activity. Remember the 2015 Hollywood blockbuster The Martian, where Matt Damon's stranded astronaut grew potatoes by fertilizing the planet's soil with their own faces. Elizabeth Hauser, an associate professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, has more modest farming ambitions. For the past year and a half, NASA has been supporting her research into growing snow algae, a type that's common in Nevada desert and other high altitude, low nutrient environments on the Earth, in conditions mimicking those of Mars. The idea is that the algae could grow in greenhouses made of flexible material similar to that of a spacesuit. Growing algae in such conditions could not only create a source of food but also produce oxygen. The research is still in its early stages. Scientists also still need to resolve how humans could get enough water to survive on Mars. The planet does not have some subsurface ice that could be water sources, and a future Mars mission will need to use radar to map its distribution. Once scientists know where the ice is, those are locations where they might send humans. Now, reaching Mars is not the only concern for us. We also have to think how we are going to come back to Earth. It cannot be a one-way ticket to Mars that we are not coming back. That's not possible. Humans traveling to Mars will need to take a rocket back to Earth. Figuring out how to get fuel to power that spacecraft back into space is the biggest technological hurdle that Mars explorers face. It's not the case that humans will carry their return fuel with them. Not possible, as it's too heavy. One solution might be to use the resources on the planet to make fuel by first electrically separating water from the subsurface ice and hydrated rocks, then combining the hydrogen and oxygen to make rocket fuel. Apollo 11 entered Earth's atmosphere at about 40,000 km per hour, which is just below the velocity required to escape Earth's orbit. Spacecraft returning from Mars will have re-entry velocities from 40,000 kilometers to 54,000 kilometers per hour. Depending on the orbit they use to arrive at Earth, they could slow down into low orbit around Earth to around 28,800 kilometers per hour before entering our atmosphere. But that would need extra fuel to do so. There are many things that humanity should overcome before they make a successful return journey to Mars. NASA and SpaceX are intimately working together to make this a successful mission. Of course, a mission to Mars where human beings can travel will definitely have challenges, and there are challenges, and day in and day out new scientific breakthroughs are happening, and they are jointly overcoming those challenges. The biggest constraint is the mass of the payload, which includes spacecraft, people, fuel, supplies, and other accessories needed to make the journey. We still talk about launching something into space being like launching its weight in gold. Then another concern is the thin atmosphere on Mars, which means it can't retain heat as well as Earth does. So life on Mars is characterized by large extremes in temperature during the day and night cycle. Mars has a maximum temperature of 30 degrees centigrade, which sounds quite pleasant, but its minimum temperature is minus 140 degrees centigrade, and its average temperature is minus 63 degrees centigrade. The average winter temperature at Earth's south pole is about minus 49 degrees centigrade. So we need to be very selective about where we choose to live on Mars and how we manage temperature during the night. So just now I have shared some of the challenges that this Mars mission is facing. These are all technological roadblocks, and solutions are there, and eventually solutions will come. 5 years from now is a long time. So who knows what development happens by then. And I hope that all the roadblocks will be cleared, and as Elon has said, by 2026 definitely he is going to take us to Mars.